created by Tim Schafer, known for his work on titles like Monkey Island and Grim Fandango. The 2005 game Psychonauts was never a bestseller. When it was released on PlayStation 2 and Xbox, it sold so poorly that its publisher, Majesco Entertainment, still refuses to do work with Double Fine, the game's developer. To this day, fortunately, the game would later be validated through digital sales at websites like Steam and GOG. The game centered around a spirited young scamp named Rasputin, a rather ominous name considering his family suffered through a vengeful gypsy curse that left them all destined to die in water. Rasputin, nicknamed Raz, had Latin psychic abilities he was forbidden to use by his strict father, though, who Raz believed hated psychics. The game began with Raz sneaking out of his father's circus away to a secret summer campus for young psychics. Despite containing occasional hints of marketable elements, Psychonauts was a light-hearted, comedic game with very upbeat tones. The game in tone and presentation, Psychonauts felt like a Saturday morning cartoon, one that would not feel out of place sandwiched between Hey Arnold and Hey Angry Beavers, which makes this particular Easter egg, found in the game's third level, so much unnerving. The sequence regards one of the game's main characters' camp counselors and elite Psychonaut agent Mila Vodello. In the game, Mila is portrayed as a very friendly, giddy-spirited, and slightly airheaded woman who has affinity for partying. She seems to be very nurturing. She is very protective of the children she watches over and often refers to the main character and several other children as darling. During her level, Raz travels into a mind which as a psychonaut she has complete control over. Her brain resembles a giant party with a ton of bright colors, flashing lights, funky music, and dance patrons. Even the enemies are partying mood. Even the enemies are in a partying mood. Dressing in fancy hats, in this level, the player learns how to use the levitation ball. There is a sequence where the player first learns how to use it to slow fall and travel upwards using an updraft. However, if the player goes off course during this level, they can travel into a secret room hidden away from public view. This room is rather hidden well, and the player can go the entire game without finding it, never knowing it's there. But should the player find it, Mila will implore them not to go in, saying, "This room's no fun, darling. Come on, let's go. Now why would you want to go in there? The party's out here, darling. If you're looking for the makeout room, you came to the wrong place." Should the player not heed her words and press forward, they'll find a mental vault. Now in the game, mental vaults are literal vaults hidden within characters' minds. When opened, the player treated to a slideshow of characters' hidden, repressed, or unpleasant memories. The other mental vaults in Mila's level show some of her adventures as a psychonaut, and for the most part is completely harmless and unassuming. But this mental vault, however, is a little more revealing. It shows Mila's previous occupation before becoming a psychonaut. The first slide is her reading a book to several small children before they go to sleep. She's dressed in rather humble clothing, much like a nurse or orderly, a stark constraint to the flamboyant and vibrant clothing she usually wears. The second slideshow, equally mundane, it shows Mila spooning out food to several small children. If the player looks closely, they can see one of the children's crayon drawings on the wall. Despite performing rather droll and burdened work, Mila seems to be happy. Her bond with the children is so strong she doesn't at all seem to mind even more tedious busy work involved with taking care of them. The third slide shows Mila's playing a piano and singing with the children. Another caretaker stands in the background, singing along. Overall, the first few slides paint a vivid picture of Mila's old life. Her nurturing nature towards Raz and the other children begins to make more sense. She's overall shown to be loving, happy, and a joyful caretaker to these children. In the next slide, things take a turn for the worst. Mila is shown coming home from grocery store with bags. To her horror, the orphanage has caught fire. The children all inside. The unthinkable has happened. In the short time she had left, her children all have died. The final slide is the most disturbing. It shows Mila grabbing her head in horror as the faces of all the children surround her, screaming in horror. Some have suggested that this slide merely represents her guilt and grief after the death of the children she cared for. However, a much more upsetting interpretation has been suggested. In the game, Mila has psychic powers, her great skill being levitation. Psychonaut also has the ability to read minds. This being suggested that the slide shows Mila's psychic ability manifesting for the first time, and she is hearing the dying thoughts of the children as they writhe in agony, screaming as they burn to death. Disturbingly, the terrifying revelation doesn't end there. If the player continues exploring, they'll find a large box that looks like a toy chest. Hitting the box will cause it to open. Inside will glow an anonymous red. Jumping inside the box will take the player into a hellish secret room where giant worms, the game representations of nightmares, writhe behind metal bars, screaming the dying children words. It burns. Why didn't you save us, Mila? Mila, where are you? By digging into the game's files, the players have also found many bits of cut dialogue, suggesting that these terrifying sights were once part of a large sequence. The cut lines contain Mila screaming and crying as the children burned to death inside the orphanage. These were the cut dialogue for Mila. Hey, what's that smoke over the village? Oh, the orphanage. It's on fire. Oh no, the children. Someone save the children. Please. Someone help. Oh God, no. The babies. I can hear them. Can't you hear them? They're screaming. They're frightened. Don't cry, my darlings. Please stop crying. Please. The last few audio clips are simply Mila crying in agony. The scariest part is, it's all true. It's all real.